What's up, guys? And welcome to Behind the Crypto podcast. I'm your host, Mike Graham, and I'm your guide as we have some of the most fascinating and interesting conversations with builders, makers in the Web3 crypto space. And we've got a really exciting guest for our show today. I'd like to welcome Adrien, Senior Listing BD Manager at BitMart. Adrien, it's great to have you with us on the podcast, my friend.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, extremely happy. Happy to have the opportunity to speak with you, and happy to be on the podcast. So yeah, looking forward to it.
It's really great, to have you guys are essentially going to be our first exchange that we're talking to, and I'm sure we're going to dive into some alpha, like so many TGEs happening in the space at the moment, so many projects wanting to do, tokens, etc. Before we dive into all that, Adrien, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Adrien? And yeah, just give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself, and perhaps even more, how did you get into the Web3 space?
Yeah. So my name is Adrien. I'm half Belgium, half Irish. So I grew up actually in Belgium. I have a little bit of a unique trajectory. I started actually studying psychology first, and then after finishing my master, I made a switch. I left Belgium. I went to South Korea, and I decided to study business there. So I did a bit of 180 change, and yeah, that's how I actually started working in crypto, was in South Korea. But I started to know crypto. The first time I got to know about Bitcoin was back in 2013, actually.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, quite some time ago. But I mean, you're familiar with Silk Road, right?
Yes.
Actually, and Ross, he got freed recently, right? So people
Yes.
heard about it. That's actually the first time I got to see Bitcoin. So
Okay.
that time Bitcoin was $80, so like quite some
Ooh.
time ago. Yeah. So and I also I was there in the bull market of 2017. I invested a little bit. That's where I got to know more about the tech. And yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
started working professionally for Exchange in 2022 in South Korea. So yeah, that's how I started.
Amazing, amazing. So listen, you obviously you've got that big European heritage. You spent a lot of time in Asia and you've kind of seen the Web3 space, perhaps in both sides, right? How do you feel that they're slightly, I mean, they are different, right? They're different markets, different people, different types
Mhm.
of behavior. But how do you feel that the space is a difference? And then perhaps let's talk about BitMart and let's see kind of what you guys are up to and how you guys work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. So there's main differences between the way Europe is looking at crypto compared to Asia.
Mm,
Actually, like Europe, they want to regulate, and they
mm,
really are about compliance. They're really about they want to protect the users. While in
yes.
Asia, they're a little bit more permissive. They more things as allow their business can grow bigger, faster. And Asian, they have this mentality of they act faster. This is a new
Mm,
technology. It's only been around 15 years. It's
mm.
born, right? But they're pretty quick. Yeah, they act quick, they think quick, and they actually grew much bigger compared to Europe. I can say, like, in terms of you know just in terms of crypto community, in terms of
Mm.
events. When I was in Belgium, there is a crypto community, but it's not as big as it is in Korea or in Taiwan. And
Interesting.
most of big conferences actually are in Asia. Even there's
Mm.
also quite a lot of big conferences in America, but yeah, I would say, like, I'm a little bit concerned as a European that we're gonna get left behind, in terms of the market share in crypto. I
That's
don't know if
such
you feel
an...
same.
Sorry, say that again.
Do you feel same?
It's so interesting, actually, listening to kind of how you're talking. I'd love to hear maybe why you think that, but I agree. Yeah, like I've spent a lot of my life in Europe. I'm originally from Brazil, and
Hmm.
I lived out in the Middle East, in Dubai, in Saudi, and Bahrain. I've spent a lot of time in Asia as well. As you know, we were talking before. And it's interesting, yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying. The regulations in the EU, they're almost like chains, right?
Yeah.
And you see these projects in South America, in the GCC, in Asia, you see the projects just explode. And it's almost like the regulations, we're seeing this in the US now, the regulators are trying to keep up with crypto. And it's an interesting dance, isn't it? Why do you think, for example, in Asia, maybe outside of regulation, do you think there's another reason, or is there other factors that contribute to that, that adoption, that growth in crypto?
Mm, I'm not quite sure, but I would say like in general, like when it comes to new technology, it's more like a cultural thing. So I can say, I can give you the parallel with food. So, like in Europe, we tend to be we uh, we exert the principle of precaution, right? If we don't
Yes.
know something is good or not, we rather ban it or we rather limit it. In Asia, they're more willing to try, and if something works well, if there's benefit, we're not going to look too much on the side effects or the negative part. I think it's more like of a cultural explanation. I would
Yeah, no,
say, yeah.
I agree with that. That's such a good point. That's such a good point. Let's talk a little bit about BitMart. And, obviously you guys are an exchange. Perhaps, tell us a little bit about your role. Tell us a little bit about how
Hmm.
you guys work as an exchange. And it'd be really
Yeah, yeah.
interesting to think, Adrian, for the guys and girls, for the builders listening to this conversation, what are you guys, I think, yeah, tell us about your role, tell us about BitMart, and tell us a little bit about what is the criteria that you guys have when you're looking to list a project? How does that look like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, very happy, to talk about BitMart. So BitMart, we founded in 2017. So actually, it's pretty old in terms of crypto age, if you
Sure.
think about it.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years now. So we have a strong track record. We listed over 1,500 projects. We integrated over 150 different blockchains. We have over 7 million registered users. We have over $1 to $2 billion in terms of trading volumes. We have users coming from over 280 different countries. So we're
Mm.
really, we're really a worldwide company, a global company. Well, what I do at BitMart, so I'm part of the listing team. So my job, I have different tasks in my job, but mainly, of course, I will help projects list on our exchange. I will
Mm.
help, I will give them guidance, advice. So these projects you were mentioning, pre-TGE projects, right? These projects, they come close to TGE. They want to have a proper launch. They want to time the marketing activity accordingly. I'm there, to guide them in the process, give them advices. I also take care, I work with many other business partners, take care, of paying them, take care of, working with them and giving the best condition for listing, and also, advising them how many exchange is good for the client, all these types of questioning, because when it comes to launching on a centralized exchange, you got to look at so many different parameters at the
Mm.
same time. I'd say, you were asking what makes a good launch, or what project, what founders do, what they should look at. One major, I would say, one of the major factors, timing.
Mm.
Crypto market is really sensitive on the timing, the narratives, the timing, the cycle. We work in cycles of following the halving, 4-year cycles. When you're launching, you need to see where you are in the cycle. So actually, right now is excellent time to launch, because we're in the bull market. Bitcoin is
Mm.
close to the all-time high.
Mm.
It's forecast to have 6 or 7 more excellent months ahead of us. So now is perfect time to launch. I'd say also projects. The community is key. Community
Mm.
is extremely important.
Mm.
We used to, we is also crypto is also paradoxal for that. Is you need to have a good product, but we've seen meme coins who have no real utility beside just the community they have behind the symbolism. They do extremely well. like overperform Bitcoin, overperform large assets.
Mm.
So, and that's so, that's also kind of the crazy part of crypto, and also the charming part of crypto. Like you see these projects, these crazy projects, or these projects like, for example, Fartcoin. Lately, that project over 1 billion market cap, but it's just based on a recommendation of an AI agent, right? So these kinds of story. That's also why I love crypto. So
Mm.
I would say, yeah, like you have to care about the timing when you launch, and yeah, choose a good exchange like
Yeah.
BitMart.
Yeah, no,
Like
I was going to
BitMart,
say
yeah.
that actually. I was going to say that actually. When we look at BitMart, right? You mentioned 1,500 projects, huge amount of users, right? In terms of, being around since 2017, which in terms of crypto, that's like centuries.
Yeah,
That's a long time. So talk to me a little bit, talk to us a little bit about, perhaps what you guys do slightly different. Obviously, it's an exchange. You guys are providing liquidity. You're bringing a lot of users. What do you guys do slightly different when you're supporting the projects or when you're working with projects that kind of give them that, you know what, we should go and list on BitMart? Like, what is the thing that you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. So, Bitmart, where we can differentiate ourselves from other exchange is, the position in the ranking. So, in general speaking, for exchange, you have these tier one exchanges like, like Binance, Bybit, OKX, these huge exchange. It's very hard, for new projects to get listed on this tier one exchange, and that's where exchange such as Bitmart come in. So we have the support, the track record to help projects, to give them, this professional platform
Mm,
to help them grow the community, grow the volume, have a positive action on the price.
mm,
We have all sorts of the financial product. Obviously we have spot trading, we have future
mm,
and margin trading, we have
mhm,
NFT marketplace for projects, who has on the side of the coin and token also have NFTs. We
mm,
also provide earn products, staking. We have all the different types of financial product that are needed in the market. We also have on ramp, off ramp crypto
mm.
service with over 90 different fiat currency. So
Amazing.
we got pretty much the world covered in terms of anyone, any type of users can buy their crypto on our exchange. So I would say, we have this good balance between, we're a solid tier two exchange where, we're fully compliant. We have the money business service license in America. We have a business partner in Europe, Elliptic, and we
Mm,
have the Lithuanian compliance license to allow us to operate as a centralized exchange in Europe. So we have this, this solid compliant base, but we're not gonna be as strict. It's not gonna be as hard to list on Bitmart as it is to be on tier one exchange. So we're like, I would see us as a ramp of like a rocket, or like a starship before it launched, right? We help
yeah.
projects grow, and they can achieve the goals on the platforms. Projects like Gala,
Mm,
Saitama, SafeMoon, they all started actually first on Bitmart before growing
wow.
and managing to reach their objectives. So
Wow.
yeah, like you have to choose an exchange that helps the project grow. That's really where we differentiate ourselves from other exchanges.
I love that. I love that. And when we look at what's happening with SafeMoon at the moment, what's happening with Gala, I didn't know that they originally listed on
Yeah.
BitMart. So, kudos to you guys on that one, because they're doing phenomenally well in the space at the moment, aren't they?
Mhm.
So really, yeah, great. Thank you for sharing that alpha. That's fantastic. The timing of the market, obviously that matters a lot, right? We're seeing a lot with AI agents, with meme coins,
Yeah,
etc. And I think kind of the other thing you talked about so key was the community, right? Building that,
yeah,
having that community, having that continuation. Talk to us a little bit about kind of the future goals for BitMart, Adrien. Perhaps, this year, I think more than 1 year is a little bit too far in crypto, but what are some of the goals? What are some of the aspirations with the project, and maybe some of your personal aspirations within crypto as well?
Yeah, we have big plans at BitMart, and especially in terms of expansion in Europe. We plan to be MiCA compliant this year. So
Amazing.
our legal team is working extremely hard, to be compliant for MiCA, which will open so many doors, especially for
True.
European clients, to be on a MiCA regulated exchange. So that's one thing. We also plan to have lots of physical presence all over the next conferences. We'll be at Consensus. We're hosting side events there. We're also hosting events in Europe. So yeah, we have big plans. We have big plans in 2025 for BitMart. Yeah, continue growing as an exchange and continue providing the best listing service possible for our clients.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'd love to, you were talking a little bit about community earlier, and maybe I'd love to kind of bring that back on that topic. And, you were talking about, I guess, the criteria for projects, right? And it's interesting because I talk to projects a lot, right?
Hmm.
And they kind of approach me and they're like, I'm ready to go. Like, I want to get listed on an exchange, right? Because I
Hmm.
think a lot of projects have this concept that the minute they get listed on an exchange, that that's their goal is achieved, right? Like,
Hmm.
they've achieved the moonshot kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
And I always talk to them about, okay, where is your community at? What are your numbers? What is the engagement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? But I'd love to hear from your side. Like when you look at a community, what are some of the things that Bitmart, or what are some of the things that you're looking for to go, yes, this is a community that is, ready or nearly ready, or maybe they're 2 months out. Like, what are some of the indicators that you're kind of, just pinpointing?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. So there's actually different ways of answering. First thing is you're gonna look at metrics, obviously, right? You're gonna look at
Mm.
on-chain holders, how diversified are the holders. We have great tools such as Bubble Map to look at different clusters or a little bit more deeply how uh, how the holders are how it's diversified. You're gonna look at the size of the community.
Yeah.
We unfortunately we see lots of project where the community is mostly composed of bots. So you
Mm.
can have projects who have like hundreds of thousands of followers or like
Mm.
telegram group of hundreds of thousands of people, but we don't really know how many of these people are actually real users. So once you
True.
can actually dig a little deeper and see what are the percentage of organic users, that's a important metric you
Mm.
look at. Yeah, can you remind me the beginning of your question? I lost a little bit
Yeah, yeah, no, we were
lost a bit
just
track.
talking about some of the metrics. You've mentioned a few things there. You were talking about using Bubble Map, looking at the organic
Hmm.
users. Obviously, those organic users are going to bring their liquidity. They're going to trade on the exchange as well, right? But is there anything else you guys look out for,
Yeah,
or?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I wanted also to bounce at Bitmart, the way we can help obviously the projects to grow their community is through our marketing activities. So I always say to projects who are they want to list on the exchange. Yeah, that's the thing I remember now. So when it comes to listing, listing should not be the endpoint for the project. Projects, they should not, they also shouldn't see the listing on an exchange as the magic recipe. Like, okay, you're getting listed on the exchange. This will increase the price. This will increase the community. They need to do the homework. They need to have other, sustainable marketing going on, sustainable work from the team to continue growing the product, or whatever the project is, but continue working behind. So listing on an exchange cannot be and should not be the endpoint for a project. So that's one. It's not, sometimes it's a little bit of a misconception. Some projects they grow, they work so hard, and once they get listed on an exchange, they might they might see it as an endpoint and not continue working as hard. But you should continue working towards the project growth and see the exchange listing as a support for that matter. But obviously, that being said, we have amazing marketing and listing activities. Depending, it really depends on the goals of the project. I always say to my clients, okay, if you guys, you care about the volume, you guys can do a trading competition, and we reward users based on the volume. So this helps increase the volume. If they want to increase the price action, they can do a staking or hold and earn events where people where BitMart users can lock their token and generate an APY. So like they lock the token for 15, 30, 90 days, for example. So this helps generating buying pressure while reducing the selling pressure, right? Because the tokens are locked. So it really depends on the projects. But yeah, they have to keep obviously keep doing their homework, keep working hard to continue growing the project and building the community.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. And I really kind of resonate with one of your points that you made, which is, yeah, sometimes projects, the founders, the builders, they've worked so hard to get to the
Mm-hmm.
exchange that they shouldn't look at that exchange as, okay, that's it. I've achieved
Yeah,
paradise. I've reached the Holy Land. I'm checking out now, kind of thing, right? Because that's
yeah.
that's not how the game works. Listen, I'm really curious. You work at an exchange, you see a lot of projects. I'm really curious to kind of ask you, what is one of your favorite coins or projects at the moment? It can be on BitMart, no worries. But what is one of a
Mm-hmm.
project that you're looking at, or maybe that you hold, whatever, that you're going, you know what? I like this project.
Yeah, I mean, is an old project. Is the Monero coin. I like the
Monero.
idea, the idea behind Monero, the fact that it can be completely anonymous. However, it's been banned from many exchange because of that, because the coin is anonymous. But yeah, that one would be one of my favorite coin. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Monero.
love that. I love that. It kind of taps
Mhm.
into that whole decentralized
Yeah, exactly.
mythology, right? It's totally decentralized, really taps into that. It's like Bitcoin almost,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is a good
Actually, I wanted
thing.
to say Bitcoin, but I wanted to bring a little side,
No,
a bit
Monero is
Monero.
great.
Yeah.
I've had previous guests say Bitcoin, and it's great, it's great. But Monero is a nice one. Monero is a
Yeah,
nice one.
Monero would be.
Listen, tell us last thing. You've been wonderful. Two last things, Adrien. One thing, first thing, what is a movement that you're seeing in this? There's so many narratives at the moment in Web3,
Mhm,
right? You've got like DPIN, RWAs, AI, meme coins. The other day I heard DeSci,
mhm.
decentralized science.
Yeah,
What is a narrative or a movement in this space that you're seeing that you're quite excited about and perhaps double down a little bit why?
yeah. I mean, like when I was preparing the podcast, I thought about directly about the U.S. Bitcoin reserve. I think that's one of the huge narrative. But at the same time, I was say obviously as something positive for uh, for cryptocurrency for Bitcoin. But I was also thinking on the other hand, it might go a bit against the core value of decentralization. A big and powerful state, big powerful country like America holding lots of Bitcoin maybe is not such a good thing for the individuals. But I would say that this is one of the big and important narrative also because it will bring to the table that question of Bitcoin reserve for all the other countries. It makes it such a credible, a legitimate questioning for all other countries. We've seen Salvador uh, putting Bitcoin as their legal tender, and they suffered maybe mockeries. People didn't take them too seriously, even though their bet worked pretty well. But now that America is talking about it, is yeah, it really gives credibility to Bitcoin. So I think that's really something that's a bullish signal
Yeah.
for cryptocurrency for blockchain industry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Adrian. It's interesting, isn't it? El Salvador kind of led the way. We saw Switzerland, like Zug, doing a few interesting things
Hmm.
as well. And now the US is kind of, trying to take charge of it. And I think it's exactly what you're saying. It kind of builds that trust, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest components, like one of the biggest emotional factors that crypto needs to tick is that trust of the world so that we can have that mass adoption in the tech, right? Because when I talk to people that are, for example, non-crypto, non-Web3, they still think crypto is a scam, you know, like they still think,
Yeah.
you know, but it's changing. It's changing the perception a little bit, right? BlackRock
Uh-huh.
getting involved, the US doing the reserve, Salvador, etc. It's changing. People are now thinking not so much it's a scam. They're now curious as to how does it work, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
But it's changing much slower in Europe versus Asia, I can see. You know,
Yes,
I thought about your question, like the difference. I think that's also a difference between Europe and Asia. People tend to be a little bit more conservative when it comes to new technology, to change. They're slower to adopt. I feel in Asia, people are much more open. You know, retail investors are more willing to buy crypto themselves compared to Europe. That's also
interesting.
another
Interesting,
difference. Yeah, I
interesting.
can
Thank
see
you for
that.
sharing that. Listen, last thing before I let you go, because you've been wonderful. You shared some amazing alpha. I'm sure the listeners will find this very, very valuable. So thank you. Last little piece that I'd like from you is what would be, you obviously talk to a lot of founders, you talk to a lot of, you know, builders, you talk to people building these projects, building the tech, building the crypto. What would be maybe one piece of advice that you would give to the builders, right? What would be something that you'd be like, look, if you're looking to build in 2025, this is the advice. What would you say?
I would say, yeah, like the what's really important is the team, the people you work with. You
Mm,
know, that's something really important, and the timing. You know, the when you launch your crypto. So you might launch an amazing product, an amazing crypto, but if you launch it at the wrong time, you know, there's so much competition out there. There's so much project. The you know we now live in a a kind of a attention economy space, right? So is extremely competitive to to find the interest of new users growing your community. So timing is key in terms of the competition, and also when how much liquidity is available currently on the market. So now is obviously a good time, like I was saying in the beginning of the podcast. So yeah, my strong team and time your launch in a smart way.
yeah, no, I 100% agree. And timing the launch, there's so many things to it, right? Like you can't be timing. Like for example, I've had the situation this month where January, right? Where we saw Trump coin, we saw Bitcoin have an all-time high. We saw so many. I think January had so many, key things that happen in crypto. But I had people talking to me back in November that were still thinking about doing a TGE, and then in January they're still thinking, and now the market's really exciting. And they want to go now, but they don't have a community. They haven't built anything. So in terms of
Yeah.
timing, you kind of have to almost think, when is the market going to really get hot? And I have to start building to capture that moment kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
So
and to bounce back on what you say, if I can give a little bit deeper in the advice, is to give yourself some margin. So take some hire a marketing company, work with Mike, prepare your community, grow, and have some wiggle room when you can decide. Okay, we actually can launch tomorrow, we can launch in 2 months. We have some freedom to not be in a rush and okay, we need to build the community, we need to finalize the website or whatever. Like so, like have some wiggle room, have a bit of freedom, prepare in advance so you get the freedom. Okay, now if Bitcoin in next 7 days, if it gets to plus 20%, now it'd be obviously a better time to launch than in I don't know right now maybe where the market is slightly red in the last few
yeah,
days, right after DeepSeek. So
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Adrien, before we wrap up, my friend, if people listen to the podcast, they've heard some alpha, they want to connect with you, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you? How should the guys connect with you?
yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn. You just write Adrien Long BitMart on LinkedIn. You'll find me. I'm pretty active there, and I'm also very active on Telegram. So my handle is just my name. So Adrien Long. I'll guess you'll put it in the podcast somewhere. Yeah, you can reach me on Telegram. I'm very responsive, or otherwise on LinkedIn. But both are fine.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. Adrien, my brother, it's been fantastic having you on the show. Thank you so
Yeah, thank
much.
you so much.
Ladies and gents, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Mike, and this has been another episode of Behind the Crypto, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Cheers. See you at the top.